We're going live. We're going.
Welcome to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. Are you a goofball that loves Giants football? If so, sit back and relax as we talk about the team that both excites and frustrates us so much. And now, here are your goofball hosts, Drew and Rob.
Welcome, fellow goofballs, to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. I am Drew, joined as always by...
me, Rob. Let's get over some of these big old notes we got to go over.
We got tons of stuff to go over, guys, today. Tons. We have just, an ex-Giant signed with another team today. Yes, we're talking about Mark Lewinsky. But another one did sign as well. You may have heard of the news. We got some injury stuff to go over with you guys as well. We have two people that are now signed to the roster as well. One is a prior Giant not too long ago. One is a brand new Giant we've never talked about really. And I just had to remember how to pronounce his name today because we haven't talked about him since the
last time.
So. And then we also had to go over the injury report. There's a lot of injuries, guys, going into this Giants Cowboys matchup here coming up. And it's not just injured pride. And then, of course, we have to go over the preview for the game itself, along with giving our picks for this upcoming weekend here, because we're going to start doing that there today and do the rest for you guys Friday, because we got 4 games to go over before we even get on with you guys for Friday for our pick show. So we're going to do 4 of our picks today, and we're going to do the other 12 on Friday's episode there. So let's get right into it. The big news today. Rob cleaned up his beard. That seems to be the big news today. He did. I noticed that.
Actually, no, it's just kind of coming in, so it's kind of shaping up a little bit. So you can mold it up.
Anyway,
kind of just comes up,
The actual big news in the day.
You see that too?
The Vikings signed Daniel Jones, and yes, he wore that hat at the press conference. Maybe it's the rumor I heard. Just saying. But yeah, Jordan Schultz first reported that he was going to be going to the Vikings. He said he picked them due to the team's playoff positioning and their QB-friendly scheme. Ian Rapoport of the NFL Network said he will be going on to their practice squad. So, guys, a couple interesting things the way this broke down here. One thing I thought was very interesting is apparently the Raiders are very interested. He said no. For those who may not be aware of everything going on around the NFL, Gardner Minshew broke his collarbone, I believe it was, during the last week's game. So, yeah, they're down to Aiden McConnell, who he himself is barely able to walk around at this point. So, yeah, they're in quarterback trouble, guys. Not that we're in any room to talk right now, but they are also in quarterback hell basically right now. So they thought, why not bring Daniel Jones in? He wanted nothing to do with them, which is kind of interesting because a part of me says that's smart, and a part of me says that's stupid.
Yes. So, I mean, there's a bunch of rumors where he could go on today. Like, I saw, rumor has it. I mean, shit. Excuse my language, YouTube. But like,
potty mouth.
But like, there was talks. Does he go across to Delaware? Does he join Barkley? But I assumed that man, and a lot of people thought he had more class, and that rumor got knocked down. But San Francisco was a big one that he was walking around as well. It's like, you want to talk about a team that possibly needs a backup going into the playoffs. The Vikings right now, where they sit at the 5th seed in the NFC.
They're going to be
maybe the 7th seed, but they're definitely still a playoff potential. Playoffs will start today.
Now you got me looking it up. I wasn't planning on looking this up.
But that's a strong point.
Yeah, they're in easily right now. They're the first wild card.
Yeah, so 5th seed.
Well, only because of the fact that they're having issues with the fact that the number 1 seed is ahead of them in the NFC North.
Well, yeah,
Only
well,
tied for the
that's
second best record with the Eagles in the NFC.
yeah. Well, like I said,
The BS of the playoff, the way it goes. It should go based on best record. Screw it, division titles. We've had guys like 500 or barely under 500 to get into the playoffs. Get a
look
home
at
game.
you.
That's BS.
Whoa.
Sorry, that is utter BS.
Yeah, look at you, Seahawks of Hasselback years.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
we're gonna get the ball first. We're gonna score anyway. That Hasselback seemed really stupid for that. But like I said, I feel like it's not a bad place for him to go to the Vikings for the reasons he said on there, for what Jordan Schultz said. Good playoff team. You got a lot of talent around him, where if God forbid, they lose another quarterback and Sam Darnold goes down, they go, let's go ahead and put Jones in. He's got Jordan Adams in. He's got Justin Jefferson. He's got Aaron Jones. He's got a decent offensive line.
But take that away. I mean, who was the starter quarterback last year?
Kirk Cousins. Well, no, it was a whole bunch last year. Kirk Cousins, then 10 other people.
Yeah.
But they also had Justin Jefferson last year. They also had T.J. Hawkinson. The tight end was on like one leg for half the year.
Well, that's towards the end of the year, but not the first half, because they were talking about Dobbs, how great he was. Joshua Dobbs.
Well, that was when he was Arizona. That was more when he was at Arizona. People were talking.
Yeah, but they picked him up from Minnesota, because he went 4-1 with them.
No. He went to Arizona, then went to Minnesota.
That's right. You're right. But he still went over there and did well.
They traded for at the trade deadline because he started off good with the Cardinals, and he was cheap.
Yeah,
but like I said, it's not a bad scenario for him. Again, good offensive coach as well. But part of me wonders if he should have taken Vegas. And the reason I'm saying is because it's like he went the safe pick, but the adventurous pick would have been go with a really crappy team that he's a quarterback right now. We would have started immediately. With a chance to be a reclamation project immediately. But he would have had nobody around him. He would have just thrown into the wolves, which is not a very high percentage of success, obviously. So that's the other part about it. He went to a place where he can develop there and see what happens. And Deb says his contract's only for this year. Correct. Yes. And again, it's not even a active roster spot. It's a practice squad spot. So
yeah,
they said they don't anticipate putting him to the active 53-man roster anytime soon.
Unless something happens.
Oh, exactly. Things happen.
Well, like when you talk about Vegas too, yes, he would start immediately, but he would have no one around him. It would be starting all over again for a different Giants team.
Might as well stay with the Giants then. He already had that.
Yeah. The only difference is he would be the starter and not playing safety.
Exactly. So, like I said, interesting move, I think, overall. But he took the safe pick, which probably for his long-term career is probably best. Give him a chance to work with the staff over there, see if they can fix some of the issues, see if they can turn him into something that, if God forbid Sam Darnold goes down, they can surround this guy with so much talent it's not even funny on that team, and he has as good a chance he's ever going to have in his career to prove he can do it. If that doesn't happen and he just stays in the practice squad, well, guess what? Maybe next year he's the backup at that point to J.J. McCarthy. Maybe J.J.'s not ready to go the start of the season. He starts a game or two, rebuilds his, street cred, so to speak, there.
Sam Darnold gets hurt in a playoff game, and then Daniel Jones comes in, busts the lead, causes them to lose, and makes the Minnesota Vikings 0-2 in the playoffs.
Well, you never know. How weird is it though? He went to the Vikings, the team he beat in the playoffs, the team he started his run where he had the last couple of games there, of looking really good in that 22 season as well. There's a sense of irony. He goes and ends up with the Vikings.
Imagine it's the coach staff. Listen, DJ, your record is trash as a starting quarterback. You kicked the crap out of us. What did you see? Teach us.
I doubt it's that. I don't think anybody in the league is like Daniel Jones knows how to beat teams. But I mean, like I said, it's not a bad spot for him though. In reality, it's the smart spot for him to go to, I think. So
Yeah.
Honestly, we wish him all the best. No, this is no hate on him whatsoever. Nothing would shock me with him because let's be honest, the Giants staff has not been the best at developing players for much of his time there, if not all of his time there. So who knows what's going to happen? I don't foresee him being a good quarterback ever in this league, but stranger things have happened.
Listen, he can be a serviceable quarterback. I joke around and I said, like, hey, listen, he was trash. But, like, listen, I talked very highly of that man for a very long time.
Yeah, you did.
This year, he had to go. Like, the first episode we talked about, how are we going to get there? Man, was I wrong. But I talked about DJ stepping up well. But, yeah, I mean, I had two of my three picks, I guess, were pretty bad. Yeah, him and Tony. But that's besides the point. DJ did step it up for us that season, but that's besides the point.
That one season.
But
when
it surprised me, he goes to the Vikings. He stays as a backup. He develops. He goes to another team like Arizona for a year or two, and then he goes to maybe at that point Vegas. Who knows? Stays individual, gets a starting job, and does kind of what Geno Smith has done with his career, but just not to his degree. He becomes a serviceable quarterback in the league, not the best quarterback. Geno Smith is becoming, I guess your top 10 in the past couple of years, which is pretty impressive for his story. But if DJ comes around and he's Mr. Average, if he's Kirk Cousins, he's done it right. Like, he could have a Kirk Cousins type of career. Wouldn't surprise me.
Someone's going to give him a second contract. Oh, God. Here's the weird thing about Daniel Jones, though. We've talked about the things he doesn't do well, the things he does do well. He doesn't play quarterback well, but he does the studying part right, the leadership part right, the showing up to work part right. That the stuff that some guys just don't do. Is it just me? Am I crazy to say this? That he makes actually the perfect bridge quarterback. You bring him in, you teach the kids some of the stuff that is how to be a pro. Like, yes, on the field he's not good, but off the field, everything else he's very good at, and he can teach someone how to be a pro. And then on top of that, if let's say you don't want to throw the kid to the wolves, you have Daniel Jones who has starting experience that you can pop him in for a little bit if you need to.
Which then down the road, when he goes, "Hey, I want to be a QB coach somewhere," and they're like, "Why will we argue you're trash on the field?" No disrespect. It's
he's got $100 million. He's not going to coach anywhere.
That's what you say, but people do it all the time.
Yacht somewhere in the islands.
People do it all the time. That's what competitors like him do.
Depends
so he can turn around and be like, "Hey, listen, I sat behind this team, but I helped develop this quarterback. I helped develop that quarterback. I helped develop that quarterback." And then that team goes, "Oh, you know what? Do that for my quarterback, but just don't go down the field. Just teach him what you did."
Yeah, I mean, as I'm saying, I think he's going to have a role in that. I really do. And like I said, it's the perfect spot for him. So, obviously, I anticipate us hopefully getting Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders, whoever the other team is that gets him. Sign Jones. He's really not a bad option. I never thought I'd be encouraging a team to sign Daniel Jones, but he's not a bad option as a bridge quarterback. That's actually probably a perfect role for him, and it gives him a chance to actually get on the field potentially and rebuild his credential, rebuild his
brand,
his reputation in the NFL as a possibly serviceable quarterback in this league. I'll never say good. He's never going to be a good quarterback. Possibly serviceable.
Never say never, Drew.
Never say never.
Improbable.
Is that the second episode in a row we've had a American Tail reference? It is. You probably didn't mean this one, but whenever I hear never say never, I think of that pigeon from American Tail singing in the Statue of Liberty.
I think of my sophomore year biology teacher. Never say never. Improbable.
There you go. Inconceivable. Anyway.
I don't think you know what that word means.
Let's talk about some injuries here. We got to start with a big injury here. A guy that people are worried about how we're going to re-sign him. And it's amazing how opinions change. I have a feeling some opinions are going to change in this guy here. Azeez Ojulari on the IR now. Ooh. And listen, guys, he doesn't make him any worse a player. Don't get me wrong. But this is a guy who gets injured every single year. And a lot of people are like, "Oh, how are we going to re-sign him? We're going to have to let him go probably at the end of the year. Someone else had to give him big money." I don't think anybody's giving this kid big money because he's injured every single year. He doesn't play the run. Is he a good quality role player in a defense? 100%. 100%. But he went a little bit of a tear this year with rushing the quarterback, and people thought there was going to be this big like splurge on him in free agency. This probably kills that, guys. Let's be honest.
1,000%. Listen, you also have to look at like I said, he's been very injury prone. We talked about him taking a step back, not being a starter, getting somewhere between 30-50% of the snaps would keep him healthier longer. And let's talk about like how we're in week double digits and now he finally got injured. It's not week 4, week 6. Granted, he's gone now, but I don't know the severity of the injury. Like I just know like there's no surgery talked about, but at the same time, you have to wonder if Giants should shut him down because we're not going anywhere. Are we doing a model? Are we doing a model of Sherman? Sherman Tank?
Sherman.
Oh, Sherman Tanks?
I think that, again, it's a toe injury. We know that he hurt his toe during the Bucs game. We just don't know exactly what he hurt, exactly what he did. He's said to be in a lot of pain, and you're just going to play week by week. He's at least 4 weeks he's gone. If you think about it, we're at week 13. At 4 weeks, 13, 14, 15, 16. He might come back for the final 2 weeks. That's where we're at. And if that happens, guys, then maybe he rebuilds some of his, some of his
street cred, if you will.
Yeah, it's the second time we used that phrase already. But I mean, he had 6 sacks, guys, in the season already, and 5 starts. I mean, some of them are part-time. He's been 11 games overall, but I'm saying, like, this has not been a full-time starter. This has not been a guy that's been on the field nonstop. But again, he sucks at the run. He's a pass rush specialist. That's what he is. He's the wish version of Yannick Ngakoue. It's
fair.
He is. So I like him. I'm not trying to knock him when I say that. He has a skill, and a skill that is very useful and very good to have on your team. But he's not a lead player. He's not a top-end player. He's not a guy you want to pay like that. So, listen, anything happens if he hits free agency. Anything can happen. But I think a team's going to look at this and go, 7 games in 22, 11 games in 23, 11 to possibly 13 at most in 24 now. And they're going to be a little scared. But they're also going to look at the numbers and go, okay, he's had 46 games and 30 starts, and he's got 22 sacks. So he's averaging almost half a sack a game, basically. There's not a lot of guys in the league that can do that. That's a skill. So, again, I'm curious to see what happens with him. Free agency, you never know. But I think this actually helps us retain him, as scary as that sounds. But it also takes away a quality player if we want to actually make something of the season. Just at least get some of our respect back, our street cred, if you would, again. Then we need him, but we're not going to have him. Another injury, another guy down. So
yeah, 22.
Oh yeah. All right. So next up, guess what else we got to talk about? Another guy down. Armon Watts to the IR. Oh yes, he is done for at least the next 4 weeks again as well. Timon Fox was also signed. So first on Armon Watts. Shoulder injury. Again, this was a guy we signed just about a month ago. We signed him because of the fact that he was kind of a bigger body that was good against the run. And it was all right. He got a 56.1 PFF grade. Again, I don't think anybody thought we were signing the next, Gilbert Brown over here. I date myself going the old Packer there. But,
yeah.
I don't think anybody thought that. But, nobody thought this was Vince Wilfork here. But, I mean, he's been a decent rotational piece. And he's better than most guys who get off the streets because, again, he got cut by the Patriots because he was injured at the end of camp. He wasn't cut because he wasn't good. They just didn't want to waste the roster spot and pay him at that point there and put him on the IR. So,
yeah,
got healthy, went to us, and now a month later he's hurt again. So we'll see what happens with him. Timon Fox, I think you all know what he is by now. He's a fringe NFL player. That's what he is. He can go to the back end of your rotation, the edge position, not embarrass himself. He can be in the practice squad, or he can be out of the league entirely very quickly, very soon. None of that stuff will shock me. But, Giants keep bringing him back, so they must like him.
Yeah.
I mean, personality-wise, it matters. When you're a fringe player, you're a good teammate or a good person in the locker room. Are you causing any troubles? People don't realize that.
Oh, I was about to say, he's a very respectable guy. Like he's the guy that's going to go down to, let's say, Clearwater, Florida, and open up a bar.
Listen, he can open up a bar here in Clearwater, Florida. I would frequent that bar, and I would get him on the show then.
Yeah, that's Timon Fox.
There we go.
Who got your retirement? Also,
and you know what the first thing I would ask Timon Fox if we interviewed him was? It would be,
does he say?
What does the Fox say? Exactly. Every single question I'd be like, so, Daniel Jones, give us your thoughts. You hate me. Let's go over the newest Giant, though, as well. So, Giants also signed someone. You lose somebody, you sign somebody. That's what we do. What goes up must come down. So Giants signed tight end Greg Dulcich. Now, interesting note that we signed a tight end.
Yes.
And there's been a lot of people wondering what's going to happen at the tight end position tomorrow's game. So even though the video portion, the video clip might come out after the game, but we'll say as it goes live, it's going to be tomorrow's game. But we have a lot of tight ends already, guys. You got Theo Johnson, you got Daniel Bellinger, you got Manhurts on there. We're gonna have 4 tight ends. There's a lot of speculation going on right now.
He's the new quarterback.
End of Daniel Bellinger.
Oh,
you see him less and less. You do. You see him less and less, guys. And he's obviously been in the doghouse for some reason the last year. Because his playing time started cutting down even last year whenever Waller was healthy. Makes you wonder, is this the end? And I don't know. I don't think any of us know. But let's get on to Greg and let you know who he is here. So 6'4", 245 pounds, 24 years old. Originally a 3rd pick in 22 of the Broncos out of UCLA, which I believe stands for the university closest to Los Angeles.
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that. I think it's University of California, Los Angeles, but I assume. I don't know. I really don't even know. I assume that's what it is. Anyway, for his NFL career, 16 games, 10 starts, 41 catches, 464 yards, and 2 touchdowns. But what's interesting about that is if he is Daniel Bellinger's replacement, he is the Daniel Bellinger of the Broncos, guys. Because his rookie season, 10 games, 6 starts, 33 catches, 411 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So he's only been in 6 games since then. He's only had, 8 catches, and he's had 53 yards.
Yeah. And it's very interesting. And it's also very interesting because it's not like the Broncos are a bad team this year. Are they fantastic? But you know what they are? The number 7 seed in the AFC, and they're the last wildcard spot right now, which is crazy.
Yeah,
craziness. So, you would think you want to keep all hands on deck, especially if you got someone young. So, that's something to look at as well. We need to think about the situation because.
Well, he spent most of their year in the practice squad, so I think that's probably what it was. Is I don't pretend to the Broncos well enough. But I wonder if they just had to pick somebody else up. Just need the spot.
It's probably what it was.
That had to be. It was a little weird to give up a 3rd round pick in his 3rd year. He's cheap. He's been on the practice squad. Nobody's wanted him. So it's not like you're worried about that part of it. A little bit odd there. Coming out of college, he was projected as a pass-catching tight end. That was definitely a project. Obviously, he's proved to be so. He was a bad blocker, and his routes were crisp, but he was willing to block, had NFL size, very athletic, and had good hands. So there's good qualities about him. Who knows? Maybe he's just the next Lawrence Cager for us for a little bit. That's possible. Cager was a guy discarded by the Jets, didn't really get a lot of time with them. A little different for him. He's converting over from wide receiver.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think what's his face as fast as Skater.
What's his face? He has a name. It's Dolce.
Sorry.
I swear, when I first saw him back in 22, when I started looking at players for the draft, I'm like, as soon as I heard his name, I'm like, wait, what is his name?
Yeah. Google. Google.
Is this a hygiene product or a caramel sauce? We're getting canceled for that. Anyway, this year's got just a 38.4 PFF grade, guys, in the games he's in. So yeah, not very good. Not very good at all. So, like I said, we'll see what happens. But that's the rumor, is that people are thinking he's there to take Daniel Bellinger's spot. We'll see. I would prefer Bellinger over him personally.
100%.
So let's get into a guy that also is a former Giant. Like I said, we had a second former Giant getting signed, and that's Mark Glowinski. Watch him glow. He's officially with the Colts practice squad now. He was unsigned throughout the entire offseason, the entire regular season, and basically hasn't seen an NFL football field since the Giants cut him. Spent 18 to 21 with the Colts there, so he's got the familiarity, obviously, within the room. And it was definitely a big bust for us. I mean, guys, he was like the second best offensive lineman for the Colts, basically. Like, their offensive line was basically anchored by two really good guards. Obviously, the other one was much better than him, but there was a big difference between number one, number two spot. But he was considered a very good guard, a solid veteran, and it just never worked out with the Giants. And it's got me to the point, like I said before, it's like anybody the Giants release, I just assume will probably do better elsewhere. Everybody else does.
That's what it seems like.
Yeah, I'm just a little shocked nobody picked him up even to put him on. I would have listen if I was in the team, and I have a guy there like Mark Lewinsky. I would at least look at him as let's bring it as a camp body and see what you got left. I mean, again, I think everybody in the NFL circle should have this mentality of, well, it didn't work for you with the Jets or with the Giants, so it's like that means nothing. Like that means nothing at all now anymore. Because so many people don't succeed.
We are just like, listen, as Giants fans, we got to watch around the league make fun of Miami players, Raiders players, Jets players for decades. Well, maybe not decades, but at least past decade. We are that team right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a hard pill to swallow.
So,
we are not playing good football. Like we talked about it Monday. We have some good talent that didn't look so good here going elsewhere and succeeding.
Yep. And some good talent that did look good here looks great elsewhere.
Yeah.
So you look at a guy like Galinsky, and he's got 124 games under his belt, 96 starts. Who wouldn't think, let's take a shot? I'm kind of shocked at that. Unless he wasn't sure if he wanted to play still, and he was kind of the guy.
That's the only thing that comes to mind. Yeah.
9-year veteran, solid guy. I mean, even like the last couple of years with us, like, let's be honest, it didn't work out. We all wanted him gone. I'm not suggesting revisionist history here, but he was very classy throughout the whole time. Never caused an issue. Never made any public stinks. Very classy. So I hope the best for the guy. I really do.
Yeah, and hopefully your gambling addiction gets under control. No, I'm just kidding. I have no idea.
Whoa.
I have no idea.
Rumor has
Why you go to the team? Yeah, rumor has it. FanDuel.
All right, guys. Let's get into our coverage here of the Cowboys and the Giants. Now, let's start off with the injury report there for tomorrow. Now, the nice thing is, again, we're shooting this the day before the game, so we know a lot more than we usually do. We don't really know typically much what's going on. We do this on, Thursdays because there's still 3 days left before the game. The game's tomorrow, so we know everything. So let's update you guys first on the Giants, and then we'll get into the Cowboys here. So out for the game, Jermaine Illuminor. So he's officially out. So, yeah, expect Chris Hubbard probably to pop over to that left side again. It's going to be a long day. As we mentioned, Armand Watts going to be out with the shoulder. He's now been put on the IR since they released the injury report, as we said. Questionable is Deontay Banks with a rib and effort.
Maybe the effort was put in there. We don't know. Could be. Maybe it was underlying text. I
Oh
don't
my
know.
god! I'm just saying. Just saying. his effort is questionable.
Yeah.
Tommy DeVito with a forearm. Now listen, the Giants.
He still lives
report
at his mom's house, so be careful, guys.
The Giants injury report lists him as questionable. I have heard accounts say already that he did not even travel with the team to Dallas and he will not be there.
Yeah. I didn't hear that part. I just heard that cutlets is now upside down. You're looking at that Parmesan cutlet, you're looking more like the Milanese. Like it's going to get tossed in salad. No one wants that.
Whoa, who's tossing salads? What's going on here? But yeah, so we're just going to function as if we do not have Tommy DeVito for this game, basically, because that's all the reports. I have not seen the Giants say that. So until I see reports saying the Giants say that, I'm going to assume that there's a possibility that's wrong, but that's what we're hearing there. Onto the Cowboys side now. Let's take a look at the Cowboys on IR because there's been a lot of them on IR, guys. You got to recognize who's injured. There's a reason this team's been playing so badly lately. Dak Prescott.
A lot of reasons.
Yeah. Quarterback Dak Prescott. Wide receiver Brandon Cooks. Tight end John Stevens Jr. Guard Nathan Thomas. Tackle Earl Bostic Jr. Defensive end DeMarcus Lawrence. Defensive end Sam Williams. Cornerback Amani Owarie. And safety Marquise Bell. So yeah, guys, we got a lot of people that are out right now. So
I'm pretty sure like about at least a third to a half of these guys are out for the year.
These are all IR, so they're at least gone for at least a month. So like I said, we got a lot of guys out in this game because Tommy DeVito being out is a big deal for the Giants. Jermaine Illuminor is a big deal being out for the Giants. Armand Watts not a big deal, but it's a small deal at least. Yeah. But then you look at you look at the Cowboys now. Prescott, Cooks, Lawrence, Williams. I mean, these are bigger names on this team, and that's just the guys in the IR. Then you go to the guys that are out. Jake Ferguson, tight end, is out. Guard Zach Martin is out. Doubtful. Marshawn Nealand is out. Yeah, I'm just saying that is insanity. Then you got questionable linebacker Eric Kendricks, linebacker Nick Virgil, and corner Trayvon Diggs. Guys, if there is ever a chance for us to beat the Cowboys, this may be our moment.
Yeah, so the best shot we've had in a decade. Sadly.
Seriously, half the teams are injured. Like, I feel like this is the injury reports we usually deal with. And it's funny, we're actually mostly healthy this year, and the Giants are still crap.
Yeah, there's a lot of other reasons. And it's not, it's not 100% of coaching, it's not 100% players, it's not 100% injuries, but there's a lot of different other things that are undergoing here that's
we can have a whole
ruin the Giant magic. Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, a lot of big injuries this game here, and it's definitely I don't think anybody had in mind this kind of matchup for Thanksgiving. That's for sure. That's definitely not what you wanted to see. But it is what it is, guys. Sorry, America. You have to watch a crappy game. That's where we're at, guys. That's where we're at. So
be thankful when this game is over.
Exactly. Let's get into the actual game itself, though, guys. So now, again, usually we face a team for the second time. We don't go through the whole entire team. Let's be honest. You guys, we've played them already this year. You guys know a lot of the players, So let's get into the differences there. So obviously, this is not the same Cowboys. The combination of injuries and just a weakened roster catching up with them, and it's brought them to a record of 4-7. They've lost 5 games in a row prior to their unusual win, shall we call it, against the Commanders.
I was about to say they upset the Commanders, and they look so bad as much as the Commanders look bad.
Honestly, no, I disagree with that. They should have won the game. And I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't mean that like they like something happened and caused them to win the game, like a bad call from a ref or something. But guys, they got 2 touchdowns in special teams in that game.
They did. Special teams stepped up. I'm just saying the Commanders have been. They started off the year pretty freaking hot.
Yes.
And they have the past month have not playing good football. Everyone's talking about Daniels. Yeah, Jordan Daniels coming in playing great football and how good he's looked. He's not played good. That offense has gotten that defense has not been stopping plays like it has this past month. And obviously special teams is also a problem. So once again, like how good are the Cowboys? How good are the Commanders in that game? Once again, it's also divisional rivalry. So
yeah, what I'm getting is purely the fact that they scored 2 kick returns for touchdowns, and they still only won 34-26. A lot of points per score. Don't get me wrong, but if you take out those 2 special teams kicks, the offense put up 20 points. You can't count on getting 2 kick returns for touchdowns every single week.
That's what I'm also trying to get at. It's like, what was the last time that was done?
I don't even know off the top of my head, to be honest with you.
So you're going to count on that.
Like, the answer. I thought you had the answer.
No, I mean, you count on one. You count on one of those, and you're like, oh, you win in a close game by 1, special teams kick return. Like, how great is that? You win because you had 2? Like,
yeah.
Is that because the Cowboys played that great, or is it because the Commanders played that bad?
By the way, last time that happened was apparently January of 2023, so it would have been the end of the 22 season technically, and that was the Buffalo Bills versus the Patriots, and the Patriots got the 2. Hines was returner. Anyway, what I'm getting at is it still wasn't good. And if you go back to the 5-game loss they had there, the losing streak, the Cowboys average was 14 points a game, and they had 34.3 points a game. So you could actually make the case that the Cowboys are playing worse than the Giants, because the Giants put up about 14 points a game, but we don't give up 34. Our defense has been pretty steady considering how inept the offense is. Give up a lot of yards, we don't give up necessarily a lot of points. Give up the average amount of points, while we have an offense that can keep our defense off the field. So,
yeah, very fair.
Like I said,
strength of schedule doesn't matter.
Honestly, if you look at the games, let me see. I'll look at the games. Let's do it. So I'm going to them. Oh, here we go. Okay, so Commanders, Texans, Eagles, Falcons, 49ers, and Lions. So, yeah, it's been a pretty damn good stretch they've had to go through. But that's still bad. That's still really bad. 34-14, you're losing on average.
Yeah, I mean, we've stopped some high caliber offenses.
Yeah.
But I mean, like when we played Cincinnati, right? We stopped them 17 points.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive considering that Joe Burrow set in a record this year. Same with Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals is, I want to say at this point 4, it might be 5 times this year. He's had 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no interceptions, and lost those games. Like normally your quarterback does that. Like you may lose a game or 2, but like 4 times, like it's an NFL record. He set records by playing great and losing.
Yeah, this whole thing is just a cluster for both teams in this whole game. Really, it's an absolute cluster overall.
Respect watching the comedy of the Little Giants.
Yeah, and that's just what it seems like. I don't know when Becky Icebox is coming out here, but it definitely feels like that's what we're dealing with. It's just a cluster. And again, Tommy DeVito is expected to be out. So you look at going into a Drew Lock, who is basically, even though he was a second quarterback most of the season. He's basically a third-string quarterback at this point. With Tim Boyle as the backup.
Yeah.
Like that's not a good scenario, guys. This is really not. So, and Tim, I mean, Drew Locks looked bad, guys. He looked bad against the Eagles, he looked bad in preseason. He did not look good so far. This is going to be, I have a feeling, one of two things. Either be one of those games where the Giants sneak out a win because of how banged up this Cowboys is, or it's going to be a game that sets things in motion.
I mean, there's a lot to be said about that too. It's like it could be the justification of why DeVito comes out, and maybe I could take what I said 2 weeks ago, insert my phone in my mouth, like about starting DeVito over Locke, like out of respect thing, and maybe it could be a thing around the league, because that was my biggest point. It was like, why would you promise this guy hopes and dreams, Salomon coming over here, and then absolutely not put him out there, and you send him out there, and we get a worse spanking than last week.
That was like, honestly, even though the Panthers were a worse team, that was the most embarrassing game for us because of how bad we got beaten in that game.
Yeah.
And like I said, I don't expect the 30-point put up by the Cowboys. I think it's going to be much lower. Just something tells me that we're going to get embarrassed this game. And I think it's a lot of this going to be the locker room issues that are just going to spill over, and the team's not going to unite very well, and it's not going to be fighting them like there wasn't last week.
Yeah. Well, if you see that, then there's going to be a lot of other issues come Black Friday.
It'll be a very Black Friday for Brian Table, probably. I'll put it that way. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. Here's the interesting part for you guys. The Cowboys at AT&T, their ballpark, their stadium, it's been a huge, huge advantage for them to play in Arlington. They're 0-5 this year at Arlington. That's the weird thing.
Yeah.
They're 4-2 on the road, guys. They're 0-5 at home. So we are playing them at Arlington. I won't say at Dallas, at Arlington. But, it's going to be interesting to see what happens here, because this is like, you go into some games, you go, okay, this is two great teams. One of them's going to make a mistake, and that's going to win them the game. This is the reverse. This is two really bad teams, and one of them can do something right and win the game.
That 100%.
Like, someone's going to make one big play, and it's going to change the entire outcome of this game, basically.
Or one team's just not going to show up.
No,
I can't say. I was about to say there can also be no team show up. And it goes right back to what you said. One big mistake.
Is it perhaps like one, like we can put a Pop Warner game on instead, or is that an option?
I think Random High School football is playing.
Is it Don Bosco playing or something? Watch that instead. Yeah. Now, guys, just to give you a heads up as well, Rob and I will not be live for play-by-play like what we have been, half the games this year. We will be spending time with family while we're also watching the game. We will be on tomorrow night for the post-game show about 8:30. So keep an eye out for that. And then, like I said, we'll get that rolling there. Might even be a couple minutes early, depending on what our schedule is. But by 8:30, definitely. Best way to do it, though, is hit that like, hit that subscribe, and you'll know exactly when we go on. Because your phone will tell you. Your phone will tell you. And the best thing is just hit all the likes and all the subscribes and all the different outlets we are on. And that'll make sure you know.
Yeah, Screepy's my friend.
So let's go ahead and pay the bills real quick, guys. And then we're going to go ahead and start giving our picks here for these Thanksgiving games, along with the Black Friday special.
Ooh.
We're calling that game.
Enjoying the show? Looking for more goofball action? Consider a membership at buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs. Memberships start at just $5 and give you additional goofball access. One-time support payments also available starting at just $3. buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs.
Oh, yeah. And of course, as always, guys, you can support us on YouTube by doing super chats or you can support us on Facebook doing the stars as well there. So, best way, if you want to do a free way, just hit that subscribe button, hit the like, hit the share, hit the bell on YouTube. That's one way to definitely help support us. I can't tell you how many different channels I watch regularly and don't hit the subscribe on.
It's a big help.
Yeah, and since we've been doing this, I got to tell you, my subscription list has gotten twice as long. So I feel like we need to support everybody now.
At least,
yeah.
Until we got into podcasting, I was definitely the ghost watcher, and I did not subscribe. I was literally like, "Oh, YouTube algorithm's going to bring you right back." Like, hit it, like, guys. It really helps. It helps you watch us, and it helps us in the long run.
Yes. Also helps us make money. I won't lie. So, if you hit the subscribe, we would appreciate it, as with our bank accounts. So, all right. At least I don't lie about it. So let's get into.
We would just like to make money. So,
let's get into our preview episode here, or the picks episode here.
You want to get some comments, or we're doing it at the end?
We'll do it at the end. We got to talk about some picks here. Oh yes, it's time.
What time to use some stuff?
It's time. The picks and preview. As that turkey's about to toss that ball across the goal line with that. It's on repeat if you can't tell. We got two different weird turkeys now. I don't know why. They sound like a creaky bed. They don't even sound like turkeys.
Yeah.
Stupid free sounds.
It's a Motel 6 bed.
That's how you get next year's Thanksgiving turkey.
Yeah. How you getting the gobbler?
Oh my gosh. Anyway. So first up, guys, we got 3 games for Thursday. We got 1 for Friday. So first up is the Bears at the Lions. That's our 12:30 game there we got tomorrow for you. So the Lions are 10-point favorites in this game. The over-under is 48.5, guys. And I am taking the Lions all day long with this one. To win, to cover, and I'm also taking the over. I think this is going to be like one of those like 45-30 kind of matchups, like that kind of thing. Like it's going to be a really high scoring game. I feel like this is going to be the fun game. I feel like on Thanksgiving, ours will be the crappy game. This will be the fun game.
Yeah, I've been going back and forth on this game all day long. All I know is it's the Lions playing. It's like you almost have to take the over, even though I get stung by the over on these guys. The Lions are definitely going to win this game. The question is, the Bears are stepping up a smidge. They've gone through a really bad stretch. And it is also in Detroit, which is another thing. The Lions, statistically, on Thanksgiving, have been getting the stuffing. But guess what? They're the best team in the NFL. So, my God, Drew, I am with you. I'm going Lions. Woof.
Are you going the over?
I am. That's the first thing I said.
Make sure that's still sticking. I'm putting your answers in the board here. Don't want to get accused of cheating. You accused me every week of cheating.
Yeah, because if we go live with ooh.
Listen, we go over the board together. We swap things, and you see all the answers. So. Next up, Rob, go for the game.
Yep, up next, 4:30, our game. We got the Giants going into quote-unquote Dallas. Dallas is favored by 3.5 points at home. The over-under is 37 points. This game, like we alluded to earlier, could be a very sloppy, high-scoring game. But I'm going to go with the under because I think the Giants defense is going to have a little more pride in that weak Dallas offense to keep it in the under. And I don't have faith in the Giants offense to put up that many points. So without a doubt, I don't want to bet who wins, Giants or Cowboys, because eek. But we are a betting podcast, so I'm going to take the Cowboys win. And you know what? We are a Giants podcast. I'm going to take the Giants in the spread. Because I do think it's going to be like a 17-14 game. Actually, I don't want to say 14 because that implies that we get 2 touchdowns. Like I was going to say like a 19-16 game.
I look at the game, and there's still a couple of stars in this game for the Cowboys, but not a lot. They've all gotten injured, basically, it feels like at times. But CeeDee Lamb's still around. I feel like he's going to beat the crap out of Deontay Banks. This is the vibe I get, and I think he's going to be the difference maker in this game. I really do. Diggs, we don't know if he's going to be in, and that'll be a difference, obviously, in how we can handle with Neighbors. But I don't have any confidence of Drew Lock getting the ball to Neighbors. I don't have the confidence in the offense to do anything until they show me otherwise. They haven't been able to do a damn thing all year long. Yeah, the Seahawks game was only the game looking at actual offense. So, until proven otherwise, I'm betting against the Giants every single week. So, Cowboys, and I'm also going the under. This is going to be a low-scoring game, guys. Like I said, it's going to be the difference of one person making one play, and something just tells me it's going to be CeeDee Lamb.
And the difference of this game is going to be one score. So, thank you.
We'll see. We got the Dolphins next at the Packers. So, yeah, interesting matchup because of the fact that Tua is back and the offense has been clicking a little better. But
a lot better.
In the end, if the Packers are the Packers, I have more faith in them as a complete team than I do on the Dolphins right now. And the Dolphins have been playing much better since Tua came back. In fact, you make the statement they're playing better this year now than they did last year because the defense has actually been stepping up. But I'm going Packers to cover the 3 points, and I'm going the over at the 47 points.
This one was a little tough for me, but I actually have to agree with you, Drew. I go back and forth because just like you said, that Tua is back in this offense. They've been playing better, but the teams they've played against have not been as good as defenses. I think people think about Love in this. They think about Love in Green Bay, but they're not thinking about their defense this year. Their defense has been playing at a top tier defense level. And they're stopping good teams. They're stopping the run. They're stopping the pass. Like McKinney, ex-Giants, he's going to give it to you. And he's been really shut down. He's been playing Pro Bowl all year long. And I think he's, wait for it, the X factor in this game.
Oh,
did it. And I agree with you. Pretty much. It's been a while. But I'm going to have to go with that just because the Packers defense is probably the best side of all sides of the football. It's Packers defense, Miami's offense, then the Packers offense, and then Miami's defense.
Followed by their special teams.
Followed by special teams.
Do not forget special teams. We're not going to be that podcast.
Yeah, I was about to get there, but
we're not. Bullshit.
I was so. Which special teams this year has made a difference in the game?
Which one?
Which special teams this year have made a difference in the game? These two teams.
Oh, these two teams. Yeah, this is
all
not
right.
fair.
Listen, that's not fair. That is not fair.
You're dating a Packers fan. That's not fair. You've watched definitely a lot more Packers games than I have. I'm
sorry, Drew. Tell me when the last time the all 10 Cowboys came into Lambeau Field to play special teams. When they weren't playing the game.
What?
I said, which team? I'm just.
You tell me name a team whose special team's going to have an effect in the game. So
which two of these special teams is going to make a difference?
Who didn't specify? That's on you, sir.
Definitely in this game. Don't forget about special teams. Which of these special teams has made a difference? And you brought up a different team.
You said which special teams will make a difference. You didn't specify in this game. Anyway,
that's the game we're talking about. So, of course.
Anyway, what's your picks, Rob?
I just said agree with you 100%. I'm going to go. Okay. We're going with a little love here because Packers defense is the best defense on that field. And Lambeau Field playing that game, Drew. Just to specify.
Who has the better special teams?
I'm actually going to go with Green Bay.
Of course you would. Anyway,
I will watch both of those games, the teams this year. So
go for the last one.
All right, Friday, 3 o'clock. We're doing it again.
What? 3 or what?
3 o'clock. There's a big L in there.
There was definitely a big L somewhere.
Wop wop
wop. By the way, what the hell is that with 3 o'clock time?
I don't know. Is it trying to get the people that they have to work, but maybe they have half a day. People that have to work still have halftime. People don't work. It's not late at the day. That's the only thing I have to assume.
Yeah, it's a little crazy.
But I will be working and
I'll be
listening to
working.
this game occur.
I'll be working. But
Yeah.
let us
But
let us know about the game that you and I will
Yeah.
both be stuck working and not watching.
And probably don't have to watch to know the outcome because you got the Raiders.
You never know.
Those nitty-gritty Raiders playing their divisional rival, the Patrick Mahomes Chiefs. Chiefs are favored by 12 points in this game.
Yeah.
The over-under is 42.5. Vegas is going to tell you this game's probably going to be what? 32-10. Or sorry, no, it would have to be what, 27-15. That's a big difference there.
Yeah.
I think Vegas is right here. I'm going to go with the Chiefs. Like, the Raiders have not looked good. They're not good at looking at home. They have definitely not look good on the road. They started off the first 2 months playing well against the spread. But the team that's played better against the spread, has been the Kansas City Chiefs. And they're playing at Arrowhead. And they lost a game, played really close to the Panthers. So last week, it has to be this week. It's going to be more of a get-right game. Like, they were favored by, 11 points against the Panthers last week? And they didn't hit it. They won by, touchdown? 6 points?
Yeah, it was a much closer game.
Or actually, it might have been, was it 27-30? Was it 3 points? 27-33? My God.
It was around 3 points. That's all it was.
Yeah. So, 27-30, I believe the game was. It's a get-right game against a division rival that's been just injured beyond belief, especially at the quarterback position. You put an AOC out there. And Adrian O'Connor. Come on. AOC.
Well, we got to see who's going to be even out there because Aiden O'Connell might not be playing. So
they're going to pick up some guy off the strip.
No, they got Desmond Ritter as their third quarterback.
Did he get him off playing slots? Blackjack?
I guess so. So, excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
But
we heard you were down in the Atlanta area.
Part of me is wondering on this game really is the spread part. It's definitely going to be the Chiefs. It's definitely going to be under. But I look at the spread, and that's such a huge spread. And I'm like, okay, well, Aiden O'Connell is going to be hurt probably. Desmond Ritter is not that bad of a quarterback compared to O'Connell. Like, they're probably similar. He might even be a little better. So I don't know what to think, honestly, because part of me really goes, this is way too large a spread. Part of me goes, oh my God, this Raider team is horrible.
So now you're talking about a quarterback that has not started there at the beginning of the year, who is learning the system, who had trouble learning the system, being at a team for a few years.
Yep. And that's why I'm there, Chiefs under. But I don't think I touched that spread. That's way too large a spread for me to feel comfortable with. That's a larger spread than Thanksgiving dinner. That's almost 2 touchdowns, guys. That's a lot. That's a lot. So we'll find out there. Real quick, guys, give you the recap though of last week. We forgot to do at the beginning what we usually do. We will recap it again tomorrow for you guys to make me feel better about myself. 13
because your whole whopping 3 points,
6 points. So we had 13 games last week. I had 8 of them correct, straight up picks. Robbie had 7, so still both good by us. Spread picks, I had 7 of them correct. You had 5. We both had 7 on the over unders, and then what put me over the top was really the it's been doing it all year long, the trifectas. I don't know why. I just have good luck with these trifectas. I had 5 of them on the day. You had 2. So I got a 6-point lead overall for the week. That puts me up 12 points now for the entire season, which is just absolutely ridiculous considering that I feel like I've won like at
All the
least
3
9.
weeks.
Yeah. Like it's been 9 of them, right? I think I'm a 9-3 on this year. But yet I only got a 12. I got a 12-point lead. It's insanity. Had that one bad week. That one bad week has killed the season.
It's not even a bad week. I just had an awesome week where I had like.
No, I had a bad week that week too. It was a combination of that though. I had a bad week if I'm right.
Why? Because you were like 2 less than what you normally do, and
No,
I just had to be 10 over. That's not a bad week. That's just I had a stellar week.
Oh yeah, here it is. Actually, you're right. You had 40 points that week. You were just on friggin' fire. Like 73% for all categories, except for trifectas. Obviously, I was misremembering. It happens. I'm old now. I don't remember things. All right, guys. So we'll be back again for you guys tomorrow night. Again, we'll be going over all of the post-game action. As we said, 8:30 is when we're expecting to do that. We're not going to do that live post the game at that point there. We're going to do it at specific times. That way Rob and I get to spend time with our families, as we hope you all get to do as well. Before we do that, though, let's go over to the comments. I almost forgot to go over the comments. You can tell I'm exhausted today, right? It's been one of those days.
Oh, yeah.
Deb says contract only for 1 season. Yes, we said that already. There. John says El Roberto is back-o. I added the O at the end, by the way. Just felt like it needed. He said, I think you should have went to Miami because Tua is probably going to get knocked out again. Yeah, Miami wouldn't have been a bad spot for him. I just don't know if Miami is looking for him. I heard a lot of teams were interested in him, but he didn't get to choose what team to go to. He had to go where they wanted him. So, plus, the weather and all, it'd be not a bad spot to go to in general.
No.
There's worse places to go than Miami. Though I got to say, I hate Miami. I really do. It's not a nice city.
A lot of silicone, a lot of fake people.
It's not just that. It's like New York with palm trees and iguanas. It really is. Like you want to go to Florida. No, but I'm saying you want to go to Florida, and you want that Florida vibe. It doesn't have that Florida vibe. It has that like northern vibe. Whereas a lot of this, like where I'm over in the Tampa Bay area, it's more laid back. It's more relaxed. It's that's one of the things I look for in life. It doesn't have it. It's got that rush mentality like I felt like I had when I was back home in Jersey. I don't want that. So Ronald says, yes, and he is cheap as a bridge quarterback. Like I said, perfect spot for him. Then he says he can't stay healthy, talking about Azeez Ojulari, and then says we should be able to re-sign him cheap next year. I'm hoping. Like I said, I'd like to keep him. I'm not knocking him by pointing it out, but I'm just saying I feel like the injury is really going to hurt how much money he makes. That's for sure. John says maybe he could play defensive end, or is he too small? He's too small. He's also too fragile.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a harsh term to use, but he's injured so often. I don't want to put him in a spot where he's getting hands-on with a 350-pound guy every single play. That's going to be a recipe for disaster as far as injuries. And Deb says Giants had some calls for a trade for Ojulari, if I remember right. And yeah, there was definitely trade talks with Ojulari, but I my guess would be they didn't get anything worthwhile, or they do want to definitely keep him. Ronald says his rush win rate is excellent. It like I said, he's very good at that. Then he says, do you think Tracy Workload will go down after all his fumbles? No, I really don't. If you look at his fumbles, he had one fumble last week. That fumble was the handoff on that weird wildcat thing they did at first and goal at the 5. That is just a weird trick play that never should have been done. I'm not going to put that on him whatsoever. He had 2 fumbles against the Panthers, but the big one is the fact that the one that was, ended the game basically. But going into that game, he only had 1 the whole season prior. So I'm not going to sit there and blame a guy who's had a back-to-back bad stretch because, first off, he's probably going to come out of it. Second off, you want to kill his confidence? He's a rookie.
Yeah.
He needs confidence. He needs to be confident in himself. And he should have confidence. He's a good player. But, yeah. And don't forget also, by the way, I should say, Devin Singletary has also had some issues with his fumbles this year, remember?
Yeah.
So
quite a bit.
Yeah. So you're picking the guy because of fumbles to put a guy who's fumbled. Hanging out with Tiki's what he needs to do. Ronald says they said he would fly there later. Right. Oh, I didn't hear that part. That was talking about Tommy DeVito. So, we'll see what happens, but it's not a good sign if you're on the team flight. That's for sure. Virgil says, "Hey, greetings from Manchester, England, brothers. What's up, man?
What's up, man?
Gotta be weird timing. It's 9:39 here. What time is it in Manchester right now? Let's see. Local time, Manchester.
It's like 4 o'clock in the morning.
That's what I'm saying. 3:13 a.m. Woo. Go to bed. What do you think of Diddy not getting bail? Do you think he'll be teaching the roaches and rats in the prison cell the Harlem Shake? Oh, I'm not even touching that topic with the stupid poll. Dev said 2 more games, which should be better, as Meatloaf said. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Yeah. She says, trivia. Only one team in the NFL never played on Thanksgiving. Who is it? I think I know who it is, actually. But
I think you got to take out all the legacy teams. It's got to be a newer team.
You got to take out all the NFC East teams and all the NFC North teams because they've
the
Cowboys.
Legacy teams.
So you got to think it's probably a newer team.
100%. That's what you said.
And you got to think it's a team that you aren't necessarily doesn't have a great track record.
We're going to go Jaguars.
That's what I'm thinking as well.
We're going to go Jaguars.
Yeah, which one is it? Tell us if we're right. We want to know.
It's either going to be. They played.
I would think it's the Texans because they had the Sean
Watson. Maybe. I was about to say
and stuff like that.
Like, I mean, would you count? Would you count Tennessee?
Right. You're right. We're winners.
I was going to say, could it be the Titans as well? But would you count the track record as the Oilers?
Did you just not remember the Titans?
Well, I'm trying to think. Was last time the Titans played?
It's the Jags. It's the Jags.
I guess right the first time. I'm just like sitting there thinking about I don't recall the Titans playing either. But the Oilers have.
They counted the Oilers. And I was counting the Oilers.
That's what I'm saying. Do you count that?
It's the same franchise.
Yeah.
The stricter question is, do you count the Browns because the Browns that moved to Baltimore became the Ravens, and they like to give the Browns history to the Browns, but technically should go to the Ravens. Mind trip there. Mind trip. Is Bobby Boucher? What? Anyway, guys, we'll see you guys again tomorrow. Like I said, post game. As always, we are live every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, except during game changes like we're doing this week. We will be on also Friday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, guys, going over all the picks show here for all this stuff going on Sunday. I'm sure we'll have more post-game talk to go over and maybe talk about a coach being fired. Who knows what might happen. You never know the way this season's going. So, as always, we're live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and, of course, Rob's favorite,
Thursday night.
And as always, we're available the next day on all the audio podcast channels as well. So that's you got, of course, Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Amazon, all the big ones there. So, guys, if you like both audio and video, subscribe to them all. Just treat them like Pokemon. Treat them like Pokemon and subscribe.
Gotta subscribe them all.
Yeah. By the way, do you hear what happened to the Pokemon Go people?
No.
Remember that game where people had their phones and they were like catching Pokemon like crazy? So apparently they're using the data they collected to create a navigation app now. So basically these people catch these Pokemon have been geofencing for free.
Makes sense.
It's goddamn brilliant. Goddamn brilliant. Because keep in mind, they made money off the game too because people are on the game like buying things, extra Pokeballs or whatever. I don't know. And I played that game for like a week, and I was like, "This is boring now."
You didn't like walking around?
No, honestly, it was not bad in the first week, but it's because I have a very low attention span when it comes to a lot of phone games. I like play them nonstop, like you wouldn't believe, like a week, and then I'm done. It is what it is.
Yeah, it happens. Whatever.
So, all right, guys, we'll see you guys again tomorrow night. Like I said, talk a little post-game Giants and Cowboys there. Appreciate you guys for listening as always. And as always, Giant fans,
Thanks for listening to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. We appreciate your support.
Thanks so much.
Please, I'm begging you. Please,